I'm a Lord of the Rings dwarf. Welcome to my channel. Hello and welcome. We are out in the dining room today because I know that this project is going to get very warm and very itchy, but the air conditioning unit in the studio area is very loud. We can have the aircon going on across the room and hopefully it doesn't make too much noise. Today, I am doing something I should have done a long time ago, which is try to make a dwarf beard with my hair. If you watch the same kind of YouTube that I watch, you've probably already seen Bernadette Banner's dwarf beard video, which is what has prompted me to do it today. When my hair is brushed, it is the perfect gimli frizz. Like Bernadette said in her video, in Tolkien's Lord of the Rings world, female dwarves are supposed to have beards, and they were revered for the beauty in their beards. To gain the rights to make a Lord of the Rings series with a female dwarf in there and not give her a beard is kind of a sin against the world of Lord of the Rings. So to remedy the situation and do something I've always wanted to try, I'm going to give myself a dwarven beard today. Okay, whew, I'm already getting warm. I'm going to start by brushing out my hair. I should have taken it out before I started filming. So I had my hair in braids for a couple days since I washed it. So it's going to have that little bit of a crimp to it, which will get nice and gimli-esque once I've combed it out. And yes, I brush all this hair with this little broken toothed comb. When you have to start from the bottom and work up slowly anyway, there's no need to have a brush. At some point I will explore better hair care techniques, but for now, while I'm living somewhere that I don't even bother wearing my hair down, there's no point. See what I mean? Done. This is why girls with curly hair don't brush it. And for the other side, unlike Bernadette's beautiful facial hair that she did, I'm probably not going to try and do a moustache. It just seemed to not work with how it just wouldn't stay up on her lip. I think I will just do a beard, and if it looks really empty or too Amish-like, then I might draw on a moustache with some eye pencils or something. Let's do it. I kind of want a little bit of framing hair. I'm going to take my hair from probably here-ish up and tie this out of the way, and then the rest will be used for beard. What I'm going to do is have a piece that is just pulled from the sides and I'm going to tie at my chin. That's going to be the supporting piece that the rest will kind of dangle from, hopefully. I have this idea that if I loop my hair under and over the supporting bit, then it'll look kind of beardy. We're gonna try it anyway. It's probably best for me to do that supporting piece with the hair from the back of my head so that I can keep it quite long with the more forward bits. Bear with me. I have brown hair ties that are almost as dark as my hair, so hopefully this will kind of be a bit hidden once the rest of the hair is tied on. Got to keep it quite tight so that it stays on my chin. If I do it any looser, it'll just drop off. Trust the madness, okay? So we've got quite a bushy beard going on here. This is kind of the coverage plus these bits. So we've got quite a bit of hair to work with, and then this will be our top hair on top. Are you still watching? So what I've done is I've pulled some of the hair from this side, I've tucked it under and then over my supporting bits of hair and just kind of spaced it out along that. How's it looking? Okay, now to do the same on this side. So, we have a beard. I don't have a little mirror, I'm actually using the reflection off of my little Samsung tablet to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go have a quick look in the mirror and I'll be right back. Now what's going to really seal the deal here is adding a few braids to sort of overlap these layers. Dwarves like gems and metals and they decorate their beards to reflect that. So of course a female dwarf would do the same, if not more so. So I have painted up these little wooden beads to just kind of give them that look that they're kind of made of gold. It's a very quick, messy job, but we'll get the idea. I have to try and get my hair through the hole. So hard to talk. It's like when I had my wisdom teeth out and I had to have the ice pack on my face. So I'm going to see if I can put my hair in there and gently pull it through the bead. It's probably not going to work actually. I might do some really delicate braids to make it work. Gimli has like two braids that kind of come from his moustache down into his beard, so I'm going to do something similar to that. Hide this down the middle. Gonna try and put this through a bead now, so yes, that actually worked. How? So now that I've got the bead on there, I'll do another bit so that I can braid this with other bits. It's very technical. We'll come back to this bit later. Is my face red yet? I'm probably looking more like a pirate than a dwarf at this point, but I don't care. Either one is pretty cool, but dwarf with a beard. That's me. At the moment, I've only got a hair tie at the bottom of this braid, but I could gather it all and, you know, do that kind of deal and have it as a more gathered beard. It probably makes it look a little bit more harmonious, a bit more feminine maybe if it's a bit more tied in. Let's try it. I think I'm gonna stop there for the beard. I did have 2 more, but I think I'm gonna leave it as it is. Time to take this bit down. I have so much hair, honestly. Okay. And my axe. That was a little Bill Nye circa Davy Jones. I knew I had the perfect hair for a dwarven beard, and I was right. For once, my frizzy curls are perfect. Is this going to be a trend at all the cons now? Like, women cosplaying dwarves with beards? Because I feel like this is going to be a thing. If it's not already, I'm kind of not up with that kind of stuff. I get the feeling this is not going to be the last time we see a beard on my face. I'll be putting this on the resume. Functional and stylish. I have the eyebrows for a dwarf as well, and the height. Tom asked me what the beads were for, and I said, oh, I'm doing a hair video. What kind of hair video? Braids and stuff. I don't know about you, but I would call this a roaring success. I don't want to undo it, but it's so warm. I'm actually crying. Give me a sec. So because I film on my phone and have to lock the brightness so it doesn't fluctuate every time I move, the video got progressively brighter and more overexposed as we went there. So apologies for the awful quality towards the end. I have a beard. I think I pulled too much of it into that middle piece. I probably could have started with a much smaller supporting piece to wrap all the hair around so that I could make it a bit more bushier. There's just like a few kind of gappy bits, but they hide when you pull the hair in together. What do you think? Gimli thought Galadriel was hot, but hey, if he saw this beard, he would drop. You've heard of mermaid hair don't care, now get ready for dwarven hair don't care. I had 2 more beads that I could have put in, but I kind of decided to stop where I was. It also would have been really cool to have a crown or even one of our LARP weapons back home to pose with as like a dwarven warrior princess. It might look cute with some braids down the side as well. It would also look cool as kind of a wrapped braid as well. Oh. This would be kind of a more formal manicured look. Too much fun. I wonder if anyone's just watched me do this from their balcony over there. I just knew my frizzy hair would come in handy one day, and obviously I was just destined to be a female dwarven princess. Prime, if you're going to include any more dwarven females, you know what to do. P.S. Prime, you should hire me. Yeah. Could even do like an updo. That was my attempt at a Gimli drunken laugh. Surprisingly, I can still talk quite a bit and like do stuff without it slipping off my chin. I guess because I've got that hair tie right here that's quite tight. I don't know, it's definitely making my cheeks puff out a little bit, but hey, I don't care. Now the question is, do we add a moustache? Part of me kind of thinks dwarven royalty, especially the women, would have much more tailored and well-kept beards. So I think, in my head, dwarven women would shave their moustache. I have not stopped laughing since I finished putting this together. I hope you enjoyed these absolute shenanigans today. I definitely am in a better mood than what I was when I started, despite the heat and tickliness on my face. If you haven't seen Bernadette's version of this beard creation, definitely recommended. I'll include a link in the description below, but in the meantime, you know the drill. like a video to feed the creator for a day, subscribe to support them forever. Until next time, stay dwarven. Supporting peace. Oh. Got a quick, throw better mood. You've heard of mermaid. Why can't I say mermaid? Vogue. Dwarven fashion, bring it back. Come on. Bye.